Hey YouTube, Untamed here. Figured it's been a good minute since I have talked much about the 4Runner and the Tundra here. Ever since I got the FJ Cruiser Trail Teams, I've been, as you guys know, I've been geeking out about that quite a bit. Just today we ended up driving the 4Runner around, my wife and I, and we ran it through the wash while we're at it. Yeah, so it's a very rare occasion that both the Tundra and 4Runner are equally clean right now. So I figured I'd do the video here. Just getting back behind the wheel of the 4Runner. I personally don't drive it that much. It's my wife's daily driver for the most part. But just driving it around today, it was a quick reminder of the not so good visibility in the FJ. And I mean, I know that. I mean, everybody knows that when you get an FJ, you sacrifice the visibility of driving it while driving that. But yeah, I see why the 4Runner is so popular, you know, and I see why, you know, and I know this is maybe just a small reason why they ended up canceling the FJ, but I see why the 4Runner does very well, you know. I mean, it really is, you know, just spacious enough for your family while not sacrificing really anything. You know, of course, get the same semi-poor fuel economy because it's the same engine, right, as the FJ. But yeah, definitely I see why so many people gravitate to the 4Runner. As far as the Tundra here goes, I recently, for the last week and a half or so, ever since I got the FJ, I've been driving that predominantly every single day, just because it's new, it's exciting. But the Tundra, you know, with the 5.7 liter V8, it feels good. I mean, I've driven it a couple times in between, just kind of running it into town and stuff for errands, small errands, mainly just grabbing groceries. Pups are excited. But you know, you quickly realize the value of having that big V8 up front. So really, I mean, at this point, I've owned the Tundra about, I think we're coming up at 4.5 months, 4.5 months. I'm trying to think, so I got it. Yeah, so we're coming up right on 4.5 months with this. The 4Runner, on the other hand, we've had that for nearly half a year, about 5.5 months now. And you know, at this point, I think I've gotten a pretty firm grasp on each of them and what the value is of each of them too. So the Raptor, I honestly thought I was gonna regret it a lot more than I have. You know, I mean, like I told you guys originally, you know, we were gonna move to a spot where we're gonna try to buy a house and be there for four years roughly, but that ended up not being the case. Instead, we're gonna go somewhere for 1 year instead of 4 years here shortly. Here in July, we're gonna be rolling out. So because of that, that's why I ended up getting the FJ Cruiser. So, but originally when we were going to go to a different spot for 4 years, that's why I ended up making the downsize, quote unquote downsize, to the Tundra here. It allowed me to be in a better position to clear the vehicle loan before going into actually trying to buy a house again. And when we bought this house here, we did not have any vehicle loans out. So I was purposely kind of setting ourselves up to be in the same position that we were when we got this as we left here. So we can get the best possible rate and get the maximum loan amount, home loan amount as well. So we were setting ourselves up for that, only to find out a few months later that it was not going to be that 4-year gig. So, but I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So we made that decision for a reason. And now, after owning the Tundra for 4 months now, coming up on 5 months, I now know that reason, and I absolutely love it. So for those of you who own a Tundra, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is a fantastic rig all around, super comfortable. Not to mention the peace of mind that you get when you're driving this is not quite what you get when you're driving the Raptor. The Raptor was sweet, and still every time I see them driving down the road, I still geek out a little bit just because, you know, they're very aggressive and they have quite the road presence. But I don't know. So, I mean, it is not quite like the Tundra though. I mean, I know when it's blistering cold out here, I can pop out here and it'll fire up every single time. Not to say the Raptor wouldn't, but you do get a different peace of mind knowing that you have this very tried and true 5.7 liter V8 versus a, you know, a small V6 twin turbo. So especially in super cold conditions, you know that the Tundra is going to live up to its reputation very well. And it has. And we've had some pretty, navigate out of here. We've had some really, really cold evenings, and, you know, where we've had negative 15, negative 20 degrees with wind chill overnight. And I always knew with confidence I could walk out here and fire it up, and it's done very well. The same goes for the 4Runner. You know, it has that equal awesome reputation that you guys are all well aware of too. And again, that's a great peace of mind. A part of me at one point is going to think I'm a little ridiculous, but being a car guy, of course, if you're like me and you're a car guy or gal, you're often always looking for the next best thing, and that it's kind of a curse too. It's a double-edged sword because it inspires you and it motivates you, keeps you motivated to, you know, to continue to do well and get that next best thing. But at the same time, it's always kind of forcing you to have the itch to change out, which you guys know very well if you've been watching my channel. That has been a detriment of mine to some degree, which, like you guys know, I made my wife the promise I'm going to be keeping these at least for a few years, each of them, right? They're not leased, they're purchased. I never really did talk about that with you guys, but I'm going to definitely try to keep these for a few years. And I think if I'm going to keep any vehicle for a few years, why not make it the most reliable vehicles with the best residual values, right? Why not make it these in unique colors? With the 4Runner, you know, it has that same reliability. It gets that, you know, 200, 300,000 miles with no issues, with very minimal issues, I should say. So again, you get that same peace of mind. But back to my original point, having the itch of looking at new vehicles and checking out other vehicles all the time. At one point, I really considered a Trackhawk, right? So the Jeep Trackhawk, you know, it looks super aggressive, as it should be for the price tag it is. Yeah, 707 horsepower, right? The same engine that goes in the I believe it's the Hellcat, right? Yeah, in the Hellcat. And I don't know, so I really considered that, but then or is it the Demon? Excuse me, geez. It's been a while since I looked at it, but regardless, you get where I'm getting at. So you get these crazy supercharged big V8 engines, but then maybe I'm just getting older or more lame perhaps. I don't know. I much prefer knowing that I have this very simplistic 4.0 4-liter 6-cylinder, and this, again, very simplistic 5.7 liter V8 engine that both of them have been around forever. I much prefer that now, rather than having this overly complicated, you know, awesome performing, but overly complicated big V8s, superchargers, you know, twin turbo V6s. I don't know. I think I'm just kind of distancing myself from that mindset where I kind of used to be at with it. The big perk of driving the 4Runner, I guess for starters, let me make it clear that my wife, she loves it. She absolutely loves it. So I'm very happy with that. Originally, she wanted something a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more conventional for ladies out there, and she knows that this is kind of a little more of a rugged vehicle for how much of a lady she is, if you will, but she's really grown to love it. You know, so we often have a hard time deciding which one we want to drive, like I mentioned, but I think more often than not we end up taking the 4Runner, like when we're zipping into town, just because, you know, it's just a little bit smaller. You can zip it around. The turning radius is ridiculously good. I don't know, that's just a really good experience to drive each of them, really, each of these vehicles here. But I see I'm already kind of making this video a bit long. I will wrap it up as I do each of my videos here. If any of you guys want to see anything in particular with the 4Runner, whether it be with the 4Runner, the Tundra, or the FJ Cruiser, you know, just let me know. Leave me a comment or shoot me a message. I'm happy to share with you guys. I mean, that's over half the reason why I have this YouTube channel, is just to kind of share my ownership experiences with you guys and see if I can help you out in some way. At any rate, appreciate you watching as always. Until next time.